So Bjorn, well known to many people, Bjorn Sommer, now at the Royal College of Art in London. Hand straight over, Bjorn.
Thanks, Nick. Thanks a lot for joining for the talk today. I know for some of you it's already very, very late. Much appreciated. So sorry, today you will not need to use stereoscopic glasses. So this is more a virtual reality talk today, what we are doing. So first of all, let me give you a short introduction into the program I'm working for. So it's called Innovation Design Engineering. That is a program which is a collaborative program because between the Royal College of Arts and Imperial College. And as you can see there is the name design in there. And you might have already the idea that this is a program which is normally not taking place only virtually, which is at the moment the place. I was teaching for many years in computer science, that I know that many people from computer science are very much happy to just stay at home and be taught from there and learn from there. But this is not the case for such a program. So when I came in, it was a more or less a fully studio-driven program. This here, for example, is something from a module which is called Go Global. So this means that you have a lot of students working together in the studio for ideation, for sharing ideas, for developing projects, for working together. And of course, the computer is also always there, but it's a tool, and it's especially important to work together. So, and then, of course, the problem was the pandemic happened. So this was basically March 2020 when it really hit hard UK. And then we really quickly were in the middle of a module which would have been normally very much manually and studio driven. And we had to basically transform everything to a virtual space. So, and on one hand, of course, like probably all of us, we were starting to use Zoom, and also very early we were up to speed with Zoom. But the problem was that at some point it was not enough anymore. And so we started to think about what are actually alternatives to Zoom. So, and this is a colleague of mine from Germany. He mentioned to me, did you ever try Gather? Because I was asking a lot of people, do you know any platforms which could be good in terms of alternatives? And so we were probably some of the first groups for sure who started to use Gather in UK. It was also quite new, maybe half a year old when we started using it. So, and we started to use it for many different approaches, but especially this idea to have this kind of virtual studio where students can meet up from time to time was something which was really appealing to us. And so we started early to use it in this context. And here you see actually one of the first setups which I created. So I have a special pipeline to do this now. You saw already Gather, the original version. If you did not do so, please join later probably for a talk on Gather. So normally it's a very comic and kind of in a funny style created system. So this is why I early started to do some visualizations with using Blender and some other platforms to create this kind of more appealing visualizations, at least from our point of view. But of course, it's always also a question of taste, what you prefer. And this was, for example, one of the first creation, which was trying to remodel our so-called Stevens building, where we had our original studio. And then what I want to show you now very quickly is our quite successful Superform 2021 final show. So I hope this works now. So I quickly want to go here into Gather. So this is basically the spaceship which we modeled. And the idea was basically to have this quite huge space where students can also team up with each other. You have here this kind of studio spaces where students can work together and catch up. But the main idea was also here to not only have a studio, but also have a show. And Superform is actually a module which is normally very much driven by making. So this was a big challenge for us because normally the students would be in the workshop working with our technicians and creating their own shares. So something like this one here, which you see here, but then in one-to-one scale. So in the end, then the tutors have to be able to sit on it. And this was suddenly not possible anymore. So we transformed everything with our colleague Asa Ashur, who is a quite well-known designer who was co-leading this module. And here, for example, you see one of our best students in the ID program, Scarlett Wang. So here you see some of the work she was doing. And the great thing is by using Gather, you can very easily integrate here different media, so like presentations, videos, and this is really really nice as you can combine these different approaches here. So as we don't have much time, this is just a very quick overview. So as you can see here, we basically gave the students some kind of some opportunities to develop the space on their own. So it gives them some ownership by creating some images and adding this then to the background of this studio. So I go back to the presentation and want to say that this was used then in a couple of a couple of settings. And what we ask then our students is actually, do you think it makes sense to use Gather also for other purposes? And this was then what came out. So I think we had something around, here 29 replies. And you can see here, so in the first part, we was asking during the first event in 2020. So this was the first event where a lot of students were actually gathering. So we had a lot of people who said for virtual studio, this is a really nice idea. So something like 70% for lectures, it's not so great. Tutorials as well, not. And workshops, they also could not really think that that's a good idea. The thing is, we just started to using it, and I can tell you that we use it for quite huge conferences already, and I think it's really a good idea to use this kind of environments, especially if you are forced to stay at home. So, and the second thing, the Superform event, which I just went to, so the Superform show, this was here another opportunity where we try to find out for which purposes can you use this kind of environments. And then you can see that the students thought, okay, it's great to meet up among different years, for example, to have forums together, discussion forums, to also for tutorials, they still thought here that this, we tried it for tutorials, we had some technical issues, so it did not work so great doing Superform. So for tutorials, it was not the best idea, but as you can see here, the Superform show got really, really good ratings. So with the average towards very good here. And the overall opinion on Gather was also quite good. Of course, you always see that also minor percentages did not like the platform. And I still have to say we had many students at this time in China who were forced to stay there because of the pandemic, and they had very problematic times with connection issues with Gather. So it was also used for other purposes here, for other conferences here, for example, like the industry night at the School of Design. And I have to say, one experience which did not work out so good is, so we basically tried to convince a lot of other groups also to use it. So in the School of Design, we have a lot of different programs like design products, textiles, fashion. And we try to convince them that we want to combine different studios together to one, so that students can traffic between both. But the main problem was why it did not work out is because you would have always had, you need one dedicated tutor who is taking care for this. And that was really hard to find because, of course, you have to invest some extra time into this. And everybody was already quite overburdened with other tasks. And that was the reason why it did not work out so well. But yes, so I think this is still a good opportunity. And then the next thing what I want to talk about, and I also want to clearly say these are very initial experiments, because of course you think now about how can we, with these new opportunities in terms of virtual reality, as I think everybody here on the call, it's often new to our students at the School of Design, but here I think it's not new to you. Virtual reality, it's a very old topic, so it's around for many, many years. In the 90s, there were approaches to commercialize it. It did not work. And now we are back in the game. And one thing is, of course, the Oculus Quest. It was today already mentioned in the sessions here. The Oculus Quest, I think it's a great device because for the cost of a normal monitor, you can buy this virtual reality device, and it's already quite decent quality, I think. And so you have the fully immersive experience. And the really nice thing is that you can use it as a standalone device and directly start to use different applications, as well as you can also use it tethered together with if you have a dedicated graphics, you can use it in a tethered configuration. So, and then we were thinking about what kind of tools can we use to create this virtual studio idea. Just like with GatherTown, we try to look into what is available on the market. Because as a small college, it's not really possible in a short amount of time to develop such a software on your own. So Gravity Sketch is a great software for modeling. So it's actually was established. It's an innovation design engineering program. So there were a few students who came up with this idea, and they started a couple of years ago this company, and it took some time until they got decent funding, and now it's quite successful. So companies like Autodesk, for example, are collaborating with them, and this is a really nice tool where you can model in 3D space, three-dimensional object by using, for example, the Oculus Quest or other devices. Then another interesting platform is Spatial. I think that's a really promising platform because you can join with different people in one environment, and especially with the Oculus Quest, it's quite easy to set up this kind of environment. It's also, you have a quite open world, so you can teleport yourself to different yourself to different locations. So, but we decided to go with Horizon Workrooms. So that's still, I have to say, they also say it's still so that's for Meta or Facebook. So, and that's still a beta version. So it's a little bit more limited in terms of what you can be doing. But I think that we wanted to do for this initial experiment, we wanted to have this kind of limitations and keep it simple. And the nice thing is that you can actually work with your computer at a particular space. It's quite easy to set up. What we did in this context, we had a task for our students. This is a task which was once used with our newcomers, so people who applied for our program and wanted to join IDE, they had to do this task, and the task was, so you are attacked by a couple of zombies, you have 10-meter abyss in front of you, and you have to jump over it, then you are secure. So but 10 meters off obviously is a problem. You will not be able to jump over it on your own. So what kind of ideas do you have to solve this problem? So, and this was the task for our students. We had only 3 students. So as I said, this is an early test. We gave them maximum 30 minutes to navigate. So we decided to put them in 3 different locations in our Stevens building. And so we had 1 male, 2 female students. We were 3 kind of supervisors who were helping to use the technologies. It was, of course, the first time they used this for each of them. And now I have here a video which shows basically a screening we took of that. The 2 guys on the right side, which are Bjorn, are actually not Bjorn, so it's fake. So these are basically anonymized students. And they're actually learning to use this platform. And as you can see here, each of them has a segment on the whiteboard or blackboard in the background, and they are drawing on it. So this was a front perspective. And then I have here an instructor perspective. So that was the perspective of Emre. And you can see what this is basically screencasted directly from his Oculus Quest. So, and you can see in front of him, he can draw. He draws his ideas, how he could actually escape the zombies. Whereas here, for example, Shefali on the left side is also thinking about different opportunities, and they are drawing on the map in the background. So, and this is a really nice co-working space. And so let's have a look into the feedback, and we tried now a little bit to compare Gather with Horizon Workrooms. So the left red bar shows Gather, and the green one is Horizon. So, and we ask, do you think this makes sense in the context of to use these platforms in the context of Virtual Studio? As you can see that still, so Horizon is still not really there. So it needs to be put some work into this. As I had already a lot of experience with Gather, you can see it got some better rating. Also for lectures, Gather got a better rating. Same goes for tutorials and workshops. But again, keep in mind, this is only for 3 people. So this is not representative. We did this because we wanted to test this as an initial setup. And so let's have a further look. So then we also looked into the awareness in terms of how they perceive the world. So so this is the presence questionnaire, which probably most of you know already. So here are just some representative questions and the answers to this. So I was completely captivated by the virtual world, obviously for Gather Town. it's only in the slide not aware area, whereas in the Horizons platform, you are moderately aware. So this means that we're very much immersed into the virtual environment. And then, of course, like it's still to expect, the real environment gets kind of lost in Horizons. Whereas in Gather, you of course still see it because you are just looking on a monitor and you're not fully immersed into it. Then in terms of fatigue, it's of course clear that that Horizons you experience some fatigue. What is not clear to me is why for Gather you also had this kind of fatigue happening. So, but so for Horizons it seems yeah quite as you have to use this this headset. This is of course a problem. And then in terms of novelty and ideation, as you have seen, we had this ideation phase now in terms of are your particular ideas to escape the zombies. Here are some comments of them. So what you can do is quite limited. You can't exchange papers or boards. All on the same board is difficult. And then able to ideate in a designed indoor setting anywhere, anytime. So this is positive. And you get to hang out with your team and immerse in a studio culture. So especially I think what the students like very much is this opportunity to meet in this virtual space from different spaces, yeah, from different spaces in the world. And actually, if the pandemic would get worse again, I think this kind of approaches would be a really nice approach. Yeah, so and then novelty and ideation. What do you think of the novelty of the ideas generated through ideation process in Horizon Workrooms platform? So it's on a scale from 1 to 10. It seems that they were quite, yeah, so quite agree to this, that they could together create in this virtual space new ideas. What do you think of the variety of ideas generated through ideation process in Horizon Workroom platform? So it seems that the students yeah, were also quite convinced in terms of the quality of ideation or ideas which were generated in this platform. Let's come to the conclusion and outlook. So we had a lot of different, so Gather was quite successful. We used it in a lot of different settings, as you can see it here, also in external events. We used it last year also for the SD&A conference, and I will put the link later into the chat again. So you can also register for this year's session, which will take place next week. And then the conference visualization, visualizing biological data at a large proportion running on Gather as well. So we will do future experiments with this setup. We think the setup is ready to go. So we will try to get something like 10 to 20 participants, because this, as you can see, the results are preliminary. The one for Gather are already there, but for the virtual platform, for the VR platform, we need to have more participants. Then we are at the moment running a VR workshop in the context of Grand Challenge. So 50 students are working on various different VR-related projects in the context of a design project. And if you're interested in more platforms, which might be interesting for you in terms of immersive co-working, please have a look at our immersive design engineering paper from 2020. There might be a couple of interesting platforms on there, which we are sharing there with you. Thanks a lot go to our team. So we have a couple of people involved here. So some innovation design engineering student, postdoc, and a PhD student, Jerry, are all hard working on these platforms and driving this further forward. Yes, with this, at the end of my talk, and I'm happy to take any questions.